remittances market. Everyone's talking about the 50 trillion cross-border, but within each country, there's more trillions, especially like in the US and
It's practically the banking system. Yeah, it's practically the financial system. And that's the thing. Remember, I was telling you how slow it is, and for every $100 that they have that you may have in your bank account, they only have one on demand. Well, this essentially solves that problem, because what ends up happening is instead of having, like you said before, instead of having to worry about being able to, one, if you need to borrow that money, you can get it instantly. You don't have to spend however many days it takes to send the money. But two, when someone asks for their money, you don't have to go, oh, give me a second for me to get this payment that's already on the way to come through. Their payments become instant. So a typical transaction that, let's say you're a bank and you wanted to pass a $50 million transaction, and it took 4 days to do so from all the different things that have to come play to move that money. Well, it would take a couple seconds. If you want to move billions of dollars, it take a couple seconds. So that all that clogged up piping in the financial system, from how slow money's moving around from bank to bank, institution to institution, merchant to merchant, merchant to bank, all these different moving parts will now be able to move up freely, quickly, and effectively with XRP, and not only between currencies, but between primarily derivatives. So it's almost like this. I think XRP will be used for digital currencies, but not public digital currencies. Almost like the same way where banks may deal with each other in bonds. They may make a purchase in $1 billion in bonds. People aren't going to buy their house in bonds, but I think they may end up treating the bond market in XRP so they can treat those bonds like cash, where the regular user, the same way that you're not going to accept your, just like bonds in the banking's eyes is the same as cash, except you get some sort of return on them. That's the thing, though. If you're going to be using it as cash, it doesn't mean it's the same thing as cash. So it's almost like we're going to have this front-end, back-end cash system of the back-end domestic and cross-border remittance cash system to move cash that way, and then the front-end cash system, which is basically going to be like me sending you $5.
So that's why they needed the private ledgers.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. The private ledgers, and to actually get a crazy thing about that. What I said before, when it comes to like the accounts where the bank has their account and they have all those underlying accounts, that's exactly what I mean when it comes to private. Those are private ledgers. Every single one of those. Every time I say that a bank has XRP and they have all those underlying XRP accounts, those are all private ledgers that they're operating off of. And the main portion of the private ledger is they're able to do internal accounting without it being on the public blockchain. Even though they're getting all the utility and all the use case from the public blockchain, they're still able to get that private accounting within their users' accounts on that private ledger. And you're going to see I don't know if all the banks are going to do this. I think you're probably going to see a huge consolidation of the banks, but all the big banks are definitely going to do this.
Okay. So you think there's going to be lots of mergers and acquisitions within the banks?
Oh yeah. There always is. Every crisis, there always is. And it's mostly because one bank's going down, and if this bank goes down, they can't pay this bank, so they end up merging together so they don't lose money. But then this always happens. And it's one of those things too where if a bank were to go down, there's accounts that would be totally destroyed. There'd be giant economic impacts with that too. So you're gonna see mergers and acquisitions up the wazoo. See, here's the thing. The real question is not who's doing the mergers and acquisitions, but what are those banks considered after the mergers and acquisitions? Because you may end up seeing one big acquisition into the Federal Reserve, where there's the Federal Reserve, and then there's all the little commercial banks that really are just the Federal Reserve. They're just operating as
different
brands.
Names.
Yeah, basically. That's the thing. You got to remember, this is all one network. Do you think each bank needs their own traditional SQL